Thank you all for tuning into Character Development. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you help us out with the algorithm. We met with today's guest around the spring of 2024. He is a senior associate at JBS Corp, a financial service firm based in the greater Merrimack Valley. He does my taxes as well as the taxes of thousands of other people in the area. He isn't here to talk about money today, though, more so to share his progress and development in his career. My very wise friend and the very first guest on our show, Jean-Paul Maldanado.
I blinked 4 times and 4 years done passed by. It only felt like 4 damn minutes done passed by. I done seen how quick life can pass by. You done live, you done loved and cried like mad times. Like oh my, then had a whole crowd say oh my.
I spent the majority of the year doing taxation. That first early on, tax season is about to start. I start Monday, 7 days a week, 8 to 8, 12-hour days. You need a lot of energy just to survive it. But I'm not planning on surviving. I'm trying to thrive, you know? But my first half of the year was heavily focused on taxation. Then I shifted focus and then I got into working more with like corporate accounts, doing accounting. I would say my knowledge and my skills in accounting are a lot less than where my taxation skills are right now. I've recently just passed all 3 exams, business, personal, and law, to become an enrolled agent. So when it comes to taxation, I know everything that you would need to know, or if there's a problem that you have, as big as possible. It could be a problem that I got $100,000 that I owe to the IRS or $1 million. I'm someone that you could sign a power of attorney, you can hand it over, and I could go ahead and fight that for you. But now I'm heavily shifting my focus and attention to accounting, learning more Spanish, making sure that I could communicate and I could articulate in a way where I could impact the English community here, also the Spanish community, because you know how heavily dense the population speaks Spanish in Lawrence.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. I was doing interviews for my high school, helping pick prospective students. And one of the mothers didn't speak no English at all. And they were like, Daniel, do you speak Spanish? And I was like, it's busted up Spanish. But you know what I mean? I thankfully didn't have to speak to her. They had like an official translator, actually a person who I graduated with. Impeccable Spanish. I think that's very admirable of you too. I feel like the more I get into the workforce here in Lawrence, the more I see how lacking I am in my Spanish skills. Because I could get by, but to have a full-on conversation with somebody and to be able to actually service them and provide them the comfort that they need to know that like whatever it is they need done is getting done securely.
One lesson that I learned in 2023 that I'm carrying and I'm living it by it every single day now is a lot of young professionals. I'm sitting here, I'm 23 years old. I'm a young professional in the workforce. People want money. At least that's what they think. That's what they think. They place so much importance on how much money they're making right now. And they don't understand the longevity of what your potential earnings could be. For instance, my focus and the way I view it is lifetime earnings, right? A lot of people,
what you earn in 1 year.
What I earn right now, which, you know, I'm living very well. Now, what I'm saying is, say you're making $70,000 right now. Would you care that you're making 70,000 and say your friends are making 125? But would you really care about it if you knew in 2 years you would be making 250 grand?
No.
So if you have that confidence within yourself to acquire knowledge, to acquire skills, if you feel confident in your soft skills that you could build out a network and then acquire resources, those are the 4 things, especially the first 2, which is your foundationals, which is knowledge and your skill sets. Those 4 things makes your reputation. So
break down those 4 things.
I'll break them down. Right now, this is what chapter I'm in. Acquiring knowledge, acquiring skills. A lot of people don't put the time nor the energy, especially the focus. Your attention should be put so much value on it because people are just giving it out like if it's free. I don't want to say something inappropriate, but they just giving it out, right? So for instance, your attention is everything.
Yeah.
I'm no longer just giving it out to anybody. Not everybody's worthy of your attention. I place my attention on things that could give me a valuable skill that I could use. Sometimes I just do it for the luxury. Like right now, my reward for becoming an enrolled agent is I wanted to buy myself a piano, and I could have just bought it. I had the money, I had the resources. But for instance, I said, let me make this fun. If I accomplish this goal, I'm going to give myself a reward. That way I feel like I earned it.
Yeah, you're going to give yourself a piano after you get the enrolled agent.
Piano is a skill. I noticed that no one in my family knows how to play an instrument.
Yeah.
So I said, yo, why not create this new thread? Because if I start and I commit some time and energy into it, who knows what that could do for the next generations to come.
No, absolutely.
Even if it's a small thing, you just visually seeing someone read, you seeing someone create, puts them in a creative mindset.
1,000%. On that, okay, so in the process of becoming an enrolled agent, what is one of the most valuable skills you've obtained?
That's a great question. To me, proper focus management.
Proper focus management. Okay.
A lot of people try to pass these exams and they think of it from a standpoint of input. And I no longer look at it like that. You're not just inputting information into your operating system just to memorize it and then spit it out on an exam.
Yeah.
The way I start to learn now, and this is a lesson that I learned in 2023, was input versus output.
Input versus output. Okay.
And I'll describe it to you. For instance, if I'm trying to learn Spanish and I'm reading a chapter in Spanish, that's me observing information. That's the first step. Now, the most important step is allowing yourself the opportunity to express those thoughts and ideas that I just read on the page. So the true practice, the true learning is when you allow yourself the chance to let those thoughts come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You have to practice your articulation, your communication. That way you could show others that you have value. You really might have a ton of value, but if you can't express it and communicate it out to the public, to your community, no one will ever find out. It'll be hidden.
It'll be one of them, so many people have so many skills that we don't know about just because they don't talk about it or they don't use it publicly. Last year for me was a big learning moment. You know, we started the podcast, we released the book, we did a whole bunch of other things, man. And I've gotten so much praise for it and I appreciate it and I'm very grateful because I find that it's very encouraging and it keeps me going, especially in moments of doubt. In moments of low self-esteem. But my biggest takeaway though, looking at how I functioned in 2023, I was bullheadish. That's what I've been saying lately. I was going in to this entrepreneurship journey without thinking it through. Just like a bull with a full head of steam, like charging at an object. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful because it got the wheels turning. I know some people, it's just analysis paralysis. It's like they've been thinking about something for so long, they never got started. And I'm grateful I got started. But now going into 2024, I know I need to be more deliberate. And I know I need to be more patient. And that's one of the qualities I always admire about you, brother. Because you someone who I know thinks before they speak. You know what I'm saying? Me, sometimes I don't think before I speak. Sometimes I don't think before I do. And that has come with certain rewards, but it has also come with certain detriments. And I think the biggest one for me is I find an impulsive nature leads to very high expectations. High expectations that are not realistic will not pan out and only lead to disappointment. You know what I mean? And I think one of my biggest disappointments of 2023 was I thought I was going to sell 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 copies of the book. And it's like, yo, but I didn't even put in the work to actually do that because I didn't really stopped to think about what work would be necessary to accomplish that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I just thought I could do it off the strength, right? And while I hit a low moment, I think around the end of the year, and I was really down on myself, like, damn, we didn't accomplish the goal. You know, I'm grateful for the people around me, the team around me,
Yeah.
who are like, nah, Daniel, you got this. Let's plot it out and let's be realistic and be active. You know what I'm saying? And continue to do those things, man. You know what I mean? Do you have any particular disappointments or low moments you can reflect on from
In
last year?
2023, I want to, before I go into anything through
Yeah.
my experience, there was a lot that you said. There was a couple threads that I
Go
want to
ahead,
draw
build,
on.
brother, build.
And the two words that stood out were you said deliberate and patient.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that has done wonders for me. Wonders. Just being intentional. That's what I
Yeah.
think about when you're talking about being deliberate. I used to just do things out of random,
Mm-hmm.
just for no reason, no intent behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I would do things thinking like, oh, there's a good intention behind it. But then the result would lead to consequences that I never even imagined.
You didn't even see it coming. You didn't think it could happen. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Patience has taught me a ton. And I've been so patient with everybody, with people. With people, I've been patient like
That
no
was
other, bro.
that I was about to say, yo, that sounds a little
But
like a little close to home right there.
yeah, it's been easy though. It's been easy to be patient because I feel very confident within myself, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't necessarily, I'm not seeking for anything from other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's something that other people have heard, like, oh, it's not good to be dependent, to create dependent relations with other people or to need something from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But I genuinely feel confident in my abilities to use my intelligence to get what I want in any area of my life. And I know what it requires. And I have it. I have it. So that's why I've been able to be patient.
Yeah.
When you love what you do, when you love who you are, and I'm talking about your heart, your soul, everything starts to feel calm.
Yeah.
And you no longer start to chase dopamine. You no longer start to chase emotions, at least excess emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm specifically referring to when I'm talking about calmness, think about it's like this balanced state, a deep breath, peace of mind. It feels hella good. I no longer need to feel a sense of guilt or a sense of pride. I could imagine when you sold your book and you were receiving a ton of praise and congratulations because this is something to other people that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
It felt good temporarily,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Then there was
fleeting.
this other feeling that faded and you fell off a cliff. And I'm sure that it occurred. I'm sure it occurred. There was a point when you talked about your low points. Have you experienced or felt any low points after all the recognition you got?
So mind you, brother, I feel this is gonna sound a little fucked up, but
Yeah.
I felt like the whole thing was a low point. That sounds kind of crazy, but
There you go.
it's a truth because, again, like I said earlier, one, I didn't hit the expectations I wanted to hit, but that's also because I set unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
I think also because I was rushing through the thing, not being patient, also just not enjoying the process. You know what I mean? The high point, there was a high point, and that was the day of the event where I think in November, around November 11th, we hosted that celebration at El Taller, and just mad people came out. We sold mad books that day. I got to share my story, which is something I haven't gotten to do often on the podcast, and which I seek to do more of going forward. We also was raising money from my cousin, my dearly departed cousin, who he passed away just a couple days later, died from cancer. And I think that didn't help in allowing me to enjoy, because that was one moment. You know, when the book first came out to the end of the year, we had that event in the middle of it. My cousin passed around that same time in the middle of October to the end of December. And despite like that being like such a blow to my heart, I still dream about this motherfucker, man. I think that was one of the lessons I had to process. I think to reorient and reframe the entrepreneurial project.
Yeah.
You know, because my cousin did a lot in 27, 28 years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm super proud of him. And I think just like what he was able to accomplish, he had a family, he got married, he got his electrician's license. He did a lot of the things he wanted to do. Not everything, you know what I'm saying? But he was making steady progress. And it just reminded me, I'm like, yo, there's no deadline on success. And beyond that, there's no strict definition of success. You know what I'm saying? Like, and therefore it's up to me to find the joy and the happiness on a very arduous journey. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know if you got any takeaways from that comment right there.
A ton. Once again, a ton of threads. And you bring up this word success. And that's something that recently I was just picking up online, whatever sounded right or whatever looked right. Success to me was the person who had it. And when I had to truly step back, and a lot of people, they're on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and there's a bunch of information being thrown at them, and they don't have inborn beliefs that they came up with, original thoughts. Most of the youth, most people in general, and this is what I did for the majority of 2023. Someone would say something, and to me it sounded right, so I would take it as my own, but I never dissected it. I didn't look at the ingredients. I didn't do the research that it requires for me to defend that position.
I agree. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Someone will say something about whatever, about life, about finance, and I would take someone else's opinion and try to say it.
I know what you mean.
But not truly understand it at a deep level. Success, when I don't go to therapy, but for instance, for me to output, I will literally just open up a Zoom, have Fireflies on it, which is a software like an artificial intelligence that records and transcripts everything I say. And I'll speak to a computer and it feels like therapy. And I'll just express myself. I would just express myself for 40 minutes to an hour.
You're using Firefly for therapy?
Yeah, bro.
Okay.
It's I don't do it intentionally for therapy, but it feels like that.
It feels therapeutic.
You know, it feels therapeutic. And for instance, I made a discovery just by allowing my thoughts to get out of my fucking brain, bro. People need to do this. If you watch the podcast in March, which was just, let's say 10 months ago or something like that, to now, people are going to be like, there's something different. You feel it.
Oh, yeah. When you walked in.
I genuinely, sincerely feel it. But his communication is different. He's thinking clearly. And then people start to wonder, because I'm no longer speaking to the external. People are feeling it. They're feeling it. And I discovered what success is to me, bro. What is success to you, my brother? And this is what I like most about it, is because I just said it. I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just talking, And I was getting emotional too. But I was thinking about all the times that in my life that I've tried to change myself, bro. I try to change myself, and that's never put me in a state of feeling that makes me feel like I could accomplish anything in the world. Because you're literally telling yourself, your rational mind is telling you, bro, you need to change in order to become the person that you want to become. But your heart doesn't want to change. Your soul doesn't want to change. Yeah. It's asking why. Well, why, Gene? Am I not good enough? Am I not worthy already as I am today? Am I not worthy?
Yeah.
And your mind's trying to change you. Now I have a different approach that's been working much more efficiently than my old approach of me constantly trying to see what I could change next in order to become a better person. And I said, how is it that there's people that are born into this world who have less? There's people who are born with physical defects and they're more confident than I am.
Yeah.
That was like, to me, it was like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I just said it and I was like, it just hit me, bro. Like, how? How is this person who isn't as attractive as I am, but they're more charming? Isn't as intelligent as me, but they're more persuasive. Like,
I know exactly how you feel.
and they, and truly, they're more intelligent and they're living a better life because they feel comfortable in their own skin, man.
I know exactly.
And
what
I'm
you
over
mean.
here, and externally, it looks like, yo, this kid, he has it. Everybody tells me a lot of positive things, but I don't see it myself because I have a bunch of slides in my head that make me feel like I'm the inferior one, that I'm the insecure one. And with those slides, I was never going to accomplish something great on this lifetime.
Yeah,
Because I was living on a lifeline that left me with nothing, even if on paper it looked like I had something.
Yeah. It's the facade of being put together. You know what I mean? A lot of people look like they have their shit together. A lot of people look like they're winning and they're able to make the presentation as such, but internally they're struggling. Internally they're insecure. Internally they have self-esteem issues, confidence issues. I know exactly what you mean, brother. And I think with social media, there's such a barrage of information, and informational overload. Like, I know me, for example, I was one of those individuals too, where I would see something on the internet and on social media, and I would react to it a certain way. I would process it without dissecting it and try to implement it. And I'm like, why isn't this working? You know what I'm saying? The internet told me it would work. Why isn't it working? Right? But it's like, yo, going back to patience and deliberance, like, and being deliberate and really thinking through what information is being presented to you, how it can apply to your life. And honestly, having the discernment to realize it does or it does not apply. Because that was some things on the internet is like, there's so much, and some of it's gonna fit for you and suit you, but some of it's not. And I think, damn, there was a thought I had here.
Let it come to you, bro.
I got it. It has to do with sort of like focusing. As going back to that, I know social media for a fact and all the information overload, trying to do multiple things at once that I had seen on the internet or that I already knew how to do. It was keeping me from focusing on one thing and getting good at that one thing. You know what I mean? That's why, like, despite all the tricks and tips I picked up throughout 2023, you know, something that has traveled with me into 2024 that I didn't think was going to travel with me into 2024. And this is more of a hard skill. It was learning how to use this camera and how to get good, or how to get decent with this camera, how to get decent with this lighting. Because now I'm starting like a little creative company with my homie Wilfred. He was on the pod, but me and homie are really just trying to do video production and creative work, like branding, design and shit for small businesses. You know what I'm saying? Because we have complementary skill sets. Me as a writer, him as a visual artist, and both of us knowing how to get around with a camera and all this whatnot. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, yo, you know what? I'm gonna just focus on, for a side hustle, for real. I'm not going to try to make money on YouTube. I'm not going to try to make money on podcasting. I'm going to keep doing it for fun. But let me actually try to make bread. Let me try to get out of these student loans with a skill that I actually developed and nurtured. And let me be of service to other people in my community with that.
And You cleared it up perfectly. You summarized basically that shift of the definition of what success was.
Yeah,
The
going
original
back to that.
belief to me was that someone who had money or someone who had the flashy lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
to me, that's what I was labeling and processing as success. So
Yeah.
my operating system would speak in those contexts.
Mm-hmm.
The minute that I started speaking and thinking for myself, it was the complete opposite definition. It was the person who had physical defects. It was the person who isn't as attractive, who isn't as intelligent, but they compensate for it by being more charming, by being more confident within themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They have that internal confidence that I was always wanting. And that issue right there
Mm-hmm.
is so alarming because most people don't know what they want.
That's a fact.
Most people. Something that I respect about you is that you're always working on a project.
Yeah.
Your attention might be scattered on a bunch of things. You want to do so many things, and that's why sometimes you don't accomplish anything.
Yeah,
Daniel.
that's a big thing I'm working on. Is just
But what I respect
thing.
is at least you have some guidance and some direction.
Yeah.
There's other people where I've been there and plenty of times in my life where I didn't know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's alarming. That could wake you up, man.
Yeah.
That woke me up in November.
Well,
Question.
Let me ask you a question here. Is it better to not know what you want than it is to want the wrong thing? Those are two negative situations, but I'm wondering in what circumstances it is better. To want the wrong thing or to not know what you want at all?
That's a great question. I'd rather want the wrong thing.
You'd rather want the wrong thing. Why?
I feel as in that decision, at least I'm a step further than the person who doesn't know what they want at all. And those people are more inclined to fall into a state of being a puppet, being a slave to the system.
No, I
Because
don't.
I've been there where I don't know what I want, and I don't like that state at all.
You become more easily influenced.
And if I want the wrong thing, I'll live a life like that. I'll live a life like that. I don't give a fuck.
I think you point out a very true fact. It's something I wasn't thinking of necessarily. I'm play devil's advocate in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But not knowing what you want can be very dangerous because you do become more easily susceptible to influence of others.
Mm-hmm.
You just generally become lost. You kind of wander throughout life. And, I guess even in wanting the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
If you're at least a good individual, you know what I'm saying? A person with virtue and with character who seeks to do the right thing, no matter how wrong you are in that moment, I think generally a good person will find the way back to the right thing.
Yeah.
Whereas a lost person, there can be just no motion. Sometimes there's just no motion. However, counter to that, I think about the fact if an individual can learn to enjoy the process of pursuing and discovering, because there's something to be said about finding pleasure and finding joy in the pursuit of purpose and in the discovery of purpose. You know what I mean? Not knowing what you want is different than looking to discover what you want, because that first aha moment is tremendous.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. Shit, yo.
What I noticed when I asked myself that question of what it is that I want, and I'll explain even a little bit deeper as to my, not argument, but what I'm communicating when I say, wanting the wrong thing. I'd rather be in motion than being someone who's not in motion. Because when you're in motion, you're at least creating experiences. You're learning from lessons.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing something. When you don't know what you want, you're like in a state of limbo, and you're just not creating memories, not creating experiences. There's less learnings, less lessons to take from because you're just stuck. And you don't have any direction. You're like a bottle in the ocean, just randomly, wherever the waves take you, you just go with it. Now, if I want something, even if it's going in the wrong direction, there's so many valuable lessons. And depending on how well and equipped my operating system is, I'm down to go for something that truly is the wrong thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to create memories and experiences. I don't judge the person who they got into the wrong relationship and it ended up in divorce.
Yeah. Because they
I'll take that experience.
Because they had to go through that process.
It came with a roller coaster of emotions. They might tell the story to me like, he ain't shit. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that person still has emotions for that other person. And then the last time we talked together, we talked about indifference. Yes. I don't want to live life in an indifferent state.
Mm-hmm.
I rather experience an emotion, even if it's depression or if it's tremendous amount of joy.
Yeah.
I'd rather experience something.
Nah,
so that's why I'm saying I'd rather be a person who wants and goes after something.
Mm-hmm.
That person has more of my respect.
I find you bring it to a really good point there, because only like a robot lives their life indifferently. You know what I'm saying? You're not genuinely, I think, having a human experience unless you allow yourself to experience the full range of emotions.
Correct.
You know, oh man, that's important. That's important for growth, man. Because I think one thing I'll be seeing a lot is the fact that because certain individuals don't allow themselves to experience certain emotions, they become emotionally stunted. Like the same way you can stunt your growth, your physical height, you can stunt your emotional development and emotional maturity. I know some people 30, 40 who it's like emotionally they're still teenagers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They let certain things get the best of them, or they let certain things just let them shut down. You know what I'm saying? And they're not able to, like, really, I think, confront themselves and confront their own shortcomings. You know what I mean? Correct. And that's the other danger of wanting the wrong thing, because if you want the wrong thing and you're not the kind of individual who can learn from their mistakes,
correct,
then you're just gonna keep going in a circle. It's a vicious cycle.
It's definitely a conditional thing. Like, I'm going with that side and I'm making that decision, but based on certain conditions, assuming that I'm this type of person.
Yeah.
However, I've seen it, man. I've seen some ugly endings, bro, to stories that end. And I've seen it even last week. Like my neighbor across my house, he passed away. He overdosed.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
And I live on a great street. Yeah. But you know where we live. So at the end of the day, there's definitely sad stories out there, and people live in hell. They live in and exist in hell here on earth. And my objective is to create my own heaven. Yeah. But I'm putting the reason why I am realizing that reality and that lifeline is because I'm intentional. I'm purposely bringing awareness to what I want. I focus my attention on the things that I want. People don't even know what conscious awareness is. We all have it, but people don't use it because they don't know that they have it. They don't know that that's in their toolbox because they haven't made that discovery yet.
Break that down, yo, because I feel like I know what you mean by conscious awareness. And I feel like I have a grasp and I have a practice for it. Yeah. But I've never actually heard it phrased like that. You know what I'm saying? What is conscious awareness?
It's Conscious awareness is my ability to use my attention and hone it in on the one thing that I can focus on.
Mm-hmm.
People they just allow their attention to go anywhere, wherever. You live like an animal based on like this reactive mode.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when your mom says, "Tú no sirves para nada."
Damn, if your mom tells you that's a problem.
You know what I'm saying? When your mom says that to you, you react, you snap, you're triggered.
Yeah.
And ideally, whatever comes out of your mouth or whatever body language comes out of you, you don't mean it. My mom in that moment, that little tendency she's built of saying, "You ain't nothing." You know what I'm saying? She's saying some mean stuff. But at the end of the day, I tell my mom with a calm tone of voice, I say, "Ma, you don't mean that.
Yeah. No.
You don't mean that. And I love you. Whatever it is that you want me to do in this moment, I'll take care of it. What do you want me to do? Take out the trash?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Do you want me to make you something to eat? Do you want me to give you a massage? What is it that you need right now from me that could get you out of this reactive state of mind?"
I feel
and
you.
we could return to calmness, to peacefulness, because I'm not someone who argues, I communicate.
I understand. I feel you.
If you hit someone with that, there's no way that you're going to go on their wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to overreact. I accomplished something that everybody at my company thinks is grandiose, right? Like, oh my God, what a big deal. And I tell everybody at my company, reduce importance. Reduce importance. And I just say that. And people are like, what the fuck is this kid talking about? What the fuck is this kid talking about? What does he know that I don't know?
Yeah.
Why is he not making it a big deal?
I know exactly what you mean. But continue.
They congratulate me. And I say, yo, that's not my intention. My intention is to inspire.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what is he talking about? I just leave people in awe and confusion. But it makes them think. It makes them take a step back and reflect. When you say some crazy shit like that. Some of my coworkers are starting to get it, but that's because I'm being intentional with my words and with my actions. When I mean reducing importance, because this is a concept that has done wonders for me, it has eliminated a lot of my anxiety. It has eliminated me worrying about dumb shit, the concerns, the problems. Sometimes people are in conversations. The reason why most people won't have a good conversation and could do a podcast like this is because you will sit here in the seat, and as Daniel is investing time into this podcast and investing time to have a conversation with me, most people, including me just in 2023, and this is a lesson that I learned, and I'm not judging you, what I'm bringing awareness to is the fact that people will sit here, pretend to be like they're here. Mentally, you're mentally, you're obsessed within yourself. Your attention is on your inner intention. You're thinking about your problems. You're thinking about what you want to say, and you're not listening to the person in front of you.
1,000%. I can actually
think about all the times we've done that.
Yeah, that's a big fact. A lot of I say this a lot of the time. People listen with their mouths full. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that they're already preparing what they want to say. And it's like the mouth is full, the ears are full. Nothing's going to get in, things are just going to come out. You know what I'm saying? And just to have a positive conversation, you got to have open ears and an empty mouth. You know what I'm saying? No, you can't be preparing things. One of the things that irritates me the most is when somebody tries to guess what I'm about to say before I say it. That's a very quick way to get me very agitated. That's neither here nor there. And I think even to the point of the podcast, brother, like I have a couple unreleased episodes where I didn't release them because the individuals were focusing a lot on their presentation and how they were.
I've done that.
Yo, not with me, brother, but you know what I'm saying? I do that too. I'm guilty of that in certain circumstances as well. You know what I mean? We all have our moments. And I know some people, when the camera's on, they particularly have that moment. You know what I mean?
Just that concept, that lesson of inner intention and outer intention.
Yeah.
You could accomplish so much more and go so much further in life the moment that you could take your attention from yourself and put it on the other person. You'll make wonderful discoveries. People will be like, oh my God, this is a different interaction that I'm experiencing. When someone sits in front of me, it's a lot different than when they sit in front of the majority of people, because I'm giving them my full attention. I'm truly actively listening, and I'm asking questions about them as well. In the meantime, I discover that they have an open mind. Sometimes I discover that they have limiting beliefs. I'm discovering the personal barriers that they have within themselves that I can now help them, not by telling them you need to change, but more bringing awareness to their freedom of choice.
Those are some hard conversations to have. Like, even if your intention is not to change somebody, because wanting to change somebody is even harder than trying to bring awareness to a topic. You know what I'm saying? Or a lack of freedom in one place. I was suddenly reminded of a person I met in college, and this individual had the audacity to tell me, it's like, I just don't talk to certain people because I believe on perhaps certain presuppositions, like predetermined assumptions that they have nothing to teach me, nothing to offer me.
Oh, and I'm like, my God.
How do you know that off of eyesight?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know,
I was one of those people.
For real?
Promise you.
What was your life like when you were
not to a degree where I would like avoid or show no interest at all. But I wasn't a person that when I looked at another individual, that my first thought would be, what can I learn from this person? Not at all points in my life. There would be points where I would care about someone's appearance. I'll put too much importance on their appearance.
Yes.
I'm gonna slowly teach this concept. That way people understand. So that way people understand what I'm talking about.
Okay, I got you.
I would put too much importance on their appearance, and I wouldn't ask myself a thought. What a thought, right? What can I learn from this person? That's gonna open up. Most people aren't curious. That one question, man. If that's the first thing, my God, you're gonna have an incredible network.
You can open the floodgates on an individual's like history, background, and knowledge just by asking the right question.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not weird at all by being curious about another person's experience.
Yeah.
No matter where they're at in life, no matter what lifeline they're living on, they could be homeless, and I'll be as curious with them as someone who, on Monday, I'm going to have a conversation with someone who retired in their 30s, early 30s, millions of dollars. And I'm gonna learn a lot from that person. But I've had conversation with homeless people that I've learned so much, and the lessons have taught me so many things that I could carry on. And I still use those lessons as much as I use when you're with someone who externally has it all, but you don't even know who truly inside feels better under their skin.
I think I know what you mean.
You understand?
I know what you mean. And depending, I think, on your pursuit in life, if you seek external, I guess, success or validation, of course you're gonna talk to the millionaire. You know what I'm saying? But you might not think to ask your next door neighbor for life advice on just how to be happy. You know what I'm saying? You're not likely to ask the homeless dude on the corner life advice on how to be happy because, because the definitions of happiness are a bit twisted there. You know what I'm saying? The individual who is asking the millionaire for advice may see the external things as bringing the happiness that they see.
Yeah.
And money can definitely make people happy, but to a very limiting degree. You know what I'm saying? It could only bring you certain experiences and certain luxuries, but there's other things involved in those experiences and luxuries that bring true happiness. You know what I'm saying? Or consistent joy, if you know what I'm talking about. So I think I know what you mean there. Cause I used to be like that too. I'd be very selective about who I would speak to and ask for certain advice.
Yeah.
And then I would speak to somebody else totally and who would unexpectedly actually give me the answer that I needed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it was when I wasn't looking for it that I found the information.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? When it came to those conversations.
Yeah. That's one thing that that was my first discovery when I sat down and came up with some of the list of things that I wanted for myself. Now, one thing was something that you could feel, that was physical, wasn't tangible. Everything that I wanted, Daniel, was intangible. Couldn't touch it. They were all states of feeling. A lot of times we chase for things thinking that we want something, but really what you want is the feeling that comes behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was just an incredible discovery for me because I realized that I could call myself a successful person, which I already do. But everything that I used to want, say I wanted 6-pack abs. There's a lot of.
I think you got it.
I got it. But what I'm saying is that say a young man, he's overweight and he says, "Yo, I want 6-pack abs." If he really took a step back and reflected as to why he wanted this, it's not the 6-pack abs, Daniel. This is what I'm trying to tell young kids. That's not really what the goal is. The goal is a feeling that comes with what you believe the 6-pack abs will allow you to feel. Yeah. And that young man, he just wants to feel confident.
Just wants to feel confident, wants to feel validated, wants others to look on them positively. You know what I'm saying? All those things.
Everything that I want is those things, not the physical things.
Yeah.
It's not money. I don't put a bunch of importance on money. I don't put a bunch of importance on appearance as I used to. Now I've reduced importance on those external things, and now I focus more on how it makes me feel. Which a lot of people sounds like, yo, that's a soft ass message. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like some men will be like, what is this dude talking about? I just want the abs. I want the money. That's what I want. And I'm like, yo, good for you. At least you have something to pursue. You could put your attention towards. You're gaining my respect. But what I'm saying for me, I go for the intangibles. I go for respect. I go for an abundance mentality. I go for self-control. I go for calmness. I go for peace of mind. I don't know how many things I need to tell you guys, but for instance, those things, you could all discover it within yourselves today. Yeah. You don't have to wait for 3 years to pass by for you to feel like a success, for you to feel confident or respected. The moment that you change your identity and you change how you view yourself and others and the world, the moment that I switched and say, I respect myself, right? The moment that I say I respect myself, the moment that I say I feel confident, but not only just saying it, but living intentionally every moment of my days, every day is a page and I get to write it, that change, that decision, more importantly, that choice that I made has done incredible things for me. Everybody in my life is impacted by me making that decision. I'm noticing it. I feel it. I see it in people's reactions and people's responses. And imagine if you live consistently, repetitively, with those type of thoughts, with those type of actions, you could create anything there's no limits on that individual because that individual has no limiting beliefs.
Yeah. That individual has no limiting beliefs. It's important to get rid of those limiting beliefs. You know, something I feel like is necessary in the recipe, because I feel like you're giving a recipe right now, man, is something one of the directors at my company said to me after my cousin passed, and it gave me a lot of, it didn't hit me at the moment, okay? But I think after, it gave me a lot of fuel to continue on my entrepreneurship journey. I was feeling down on myself, and these words came back to me. But optimism is sustainable when fueled by gratitude. And I think a lot of times we become so disheartened with our circumstances. We become so disheartened with our progress. Is because we're not being grateful, and we may not be grateful for the right things. You know what I'm saying? When I was looking at my book sales, you know, I was like, man, this ain't what I wanted it to be. And, you know, I called my homegirl who did a pop-up shop, who organizes it, and I'm like, yo, let me come sell books. And then at the end of the night, she's like, how many books did you sell today? And she was like, that's more books than you sold when you woke up this morning. And that shit was like a big mindset shift. Because you know what? It's like, let me be grateful for what I did today. Instead of getting bogged down by the overall weight of expectations. You know what I'm saying? That I put on my shoulders myself. Let me be grateful for the work I did today. And let me use that gratitude as fuel for a positive attitude tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And that shit has been working for me lately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a question for you, man, because here's a problem I be dealing with in my personal life. I got some people who you give them the tools, but they don't believe in the tools. I tell certain people, I'm like, yo, honestly, try to be more optimistic, or try to practice gratitude, or, you know, you try to tell them, it's like, yo, you know, don't be so negative. And they're like, yo, a mindset shift isn't going to fix my problems. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's not, you don't do, in my perspective, you don't do the mindset.
That was their response to you?
Basically, in summary. And I'm like, you don't do the mindset shift to solve the problems. You do the mindset shift so you can start solving the problems. You know what I'm saying? Because the one thing I do notice is the negative attitude is keeping you from gaining motion. It's keeping you from moving. You know what I'm saying? It's keeping you stagnant, essentially. What do you say to that? What do you think about that?
You could say that with a good heart. I could tell you said that from a place of good intention. You're trying to change people.
Yeah, you think so?
Anytime you give out advice like that, like, who are you to give out advice? Who am I to give out advice?
That's fair.
All I could do is live my life by my own principles, by my own standards and my boundaries, and people will recognize. People will be naturally influenced without me trying to force it on them, even if it comes from a tonality of care and love. Never works, bro.
I think you're right.
You yourself, in your own book, in your first chapter, the mother tried an attempt to control her son.
Yes.
What did that lead to?
What did that end up? More rebellion.
More rebellion.
Yeah.
You doing that to your friend, you have good intention. What's the consequence? They're second order. Just like in taxes, earned income tax credit, right? The government puts out this credit and tells people make less than 30,000, less than 20,000, and we'll give you a lot in refund, in tax refund, just to keep them slightly above the poverty line. What you're doing is good intention. The government has a good intention to help out the people who need it, who aren't making a lot of income. But what I'm noticing, having conversations with thousands of individuals, is that You're placing limiting beliefs, limiting their potential to earn money, to go out and be more productive, to be more of service. And because every year you give them this reward, just like we do to animals.
Mm-hmm.
If they do something bad, we punish them. If they do something good, good boy, we reward them. You have good intention. Just like a parent, out of love, they have good intention. But you trying to control them, you're conditioning them to be a slave.
Mm-hmm.
You're conditioning them. I'm not doing that to myself. I recognize that issue. I'm aware of it. And I'm aware of my own limiting beliefs. That's why I'm getting past those beliefs and creating new ones that allow me to get what I want.
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah. I know
But people are not aware that this is happening. Your friend is going to continue to suffer. I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
He's not listening. So why bother and waste your valuable energy and try to give it to him with good intention when you know it's not going to do anything for him? Let that person suffer.
I know what you mean. I think my biggest takeaway from that is I think you're right, and you're calling me out on that too. I am trying to change this person. And it's because I love this person so much, and I've seen them struggling for so long, and I really want them to do better. But it's like, freedom is essential, and the freedom to choose how you overcome your own obstacles in life, that is essential, because then because I think that speaks to something important, man, and that's a theme in the book, but is freedom. And we are controlled in so many areas of our lives, you know what I'm saying? Living in Massachusetts, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Obligated, I gotta give that to the governor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just one example out of many why we feel controlled by our circumstances and by our reality, rather than us feeling a sense of control over our circumstances and our reality, right?
It's quite easy. I'm not even exaggerating now. It's quite easy when you have the concepts, the lessons, the understanding. It comes effortlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Effortlessly. People will look and like, yo, how did he do it? They start imagining that, bro, he must be like learning all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He probably never takes a break. Like, they'll just make up stories. Nah, bro, I live a normal life. But if you could invest 30% of your time into improving your operating system, to improving the knowledge that you have that you could use, the skill sets that you have within your toolbox to solve problems, I'm just a little bit more intentional than the next person.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm stacking up wins, small wins, right? Boom, boom. Oh, making a little bit more money here, learning a little bit more here. Oh, I made a connection with someone that I could now open up more opportunities. Mm-hmm. Now I got more resources. Now I could apply for a mortgage. Now I got my own crib. Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, this person's just taking small wins. Boom, boom, boom. And the reason why he could continue being in motion is because he's not dealing with any sense of inferiority, thinking that he's not worthy. Mm-hmm. I'm training people all week. I've been training people that are coming into the company, and I sit down and I get to know them. Does this person have an open mind? Mm-hmm. Or do you have a closed mind? I asked them. Oh, I got an open mind, Gene. I got one. I got that. I'm like, maybe they're just telling me what sounds right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to find out. Are you a person with limiting beliefs, or are you a confident person? I'm confident. I'm a confident person, Gene.
All right, we're going to find
out.
All
right, you're going to just, okay. All right, we're going to find out. We'll see. But the very next thing, I tell them, hey, come do some taxes. Hey, come close this case. Oh, I can't. Limiting belief. You just told me you were confident.
Yeah.
What happened? You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
What I'm doing is I'm discovering who this person is and what personal barriers they currently are facing. Mm-hmm. I'm not being such a dickhead. In this podcast, the way I'm communicating it, it sounds like, damn, this dude's a dickhead.
Well,
Really, they're having mad fun the whole time. They'll leave the conversation and be like, yo, I had mad fun today. I'm like, dope, that's good that you have fun. But what I'm saying is that since the attention's on them and they're discovering things about themselves, they always have a good time. Because I'm not just placing it and telling my story. Look what I did. Look who I am. Look what I could do. It's more, I realize it's more on them. Their story in this moment in time needs to be told. Wherever it's at. Even if they're like, don't have a clue what their story is, allow them to just take that point. Because besides this opportunity here with me, they're not going to go do it on their own. They're not going to reflect. And sometimes the problem is, and it always lies within you. You're trying to change your friend, and I've tried to change other people with good intention. Sometimes you're not the right vessel for that person. You're not the right example. It might be somebody else. It might be some event. Maybe it's not even another human being, right? Give people that freedom. Let them be free to make their own decisions. That's why I personally value choice above change in that aspect. I'm making my own decisions. I'm not saying, yo, should I stay at my job or should I get a new one? Daniel, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? You giving me any type of advice is doing a disservice to me. The best thing you could do is being like, Gene, go home, lock yourself in a room, and think for yourself, brother. Don't ask me. Don't put your life decisions that you're going to live through the consequences. Don't put that shit on me, bro.
That's facts. That's facts. I know exactly what you mean.
You have freedom of choice. You decide and you live with the consequences. And accept that. The way you've been behaving lately, is that acceptable behavior to you? If not, then do something about it. Choose to do, but you don't have to change, brother. You don't have to change. Me as your friend, like, bro, if I fuck with you, I love you, bro. I'm not going to require you to change. But if I'm the one that inspires you, that if I'm the person that influences you, so be it. But I'm not trying to influence you. Maybe it's another person. Maybe you get in a relationship and your other half is the one that does it for you. I don't want to be everybody's like, damn, it was because of Gene. I don't give a fuck anymore. All I care about is, am I better than who I was yesterday? Am I better than who I was a month ago? Me. I'm focused on me. I'm trying to improve myself. And if that means that other people are influenced, and I've noticed that that is the case when you're truly doing that process, you'll start to see it. You'll start to see it. But I'm not trying. No estoy intentando hacerlo. It's just me being myself, bro.
I know what you mean. I think there was a thread in there I want to capture very quickly. I gotta backtrack a little bit.
I be saying a lot of shit, and everybody's like, damn, bro. But it's a lot of good threads.
It's like, it's about asking people. It's like when someone comes up to you and is like, oh, what do you think I should do in this situation? You know,
they're asking for your advice, Daniel.
Yeah, I think it's very rare, right? Like, oddly enough, I do get that a lot. And what I always tell people is like, what do you think is right? And they're like, what do you mean? What do I think is right? And I'm like, yo, this is a simple enough situation where you just don't feel maybe confident or comfortable in what you know. You know what I'm saying? You think you don't know enough. But in fact, people often do. People don't believe they're strong enough, but they often are. You know what I mean? And I think it's like you say, yo, it's like those limiting beliefs that bring us to those points. I think there are cases where it's like, yo, if I'm in a situation I've never been before, like let's say I'm not married, but let's say I was married, and some shit just happened with the wifey, I'm gonna go talk to my mentor because he been married some 20 years, and I'm like, yo, did this ever happen to you? And if so, how did you navigate it? I'm not asking what I should do necessarily, but on some like trying to learn from the mistakes and the successes of other people. You know what I'm saying? And trying to discern as best possible how you can apply those things to your life rather than asking somebody to tell you what you should do. Having somebody else take authority over your life. 'Cause only you have authority over your life and the things that you decide to do. You know what I mean? Nah.
So well spoken.
I
I
felt
have
that,
nothing
bro.
to add right there. What you just did, the way you broke it down,
Yeah.
perfectly said, bro.
Just to add to that real quick, because I'm suddenly reminded, man, and it's not to talk immense crap, but slightly. One thing that used to really irritate me in college, brother, and I understand that certain people have financial constraints on them, but it's like, oh, I have to major in this because my mom or my dad said so. And I'm like I ain't gonna go no further, but that really irritates me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't know if you have similar experiences or any thoughts to that. You know what I mean?
My parents never did that to me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely a sense of control that they want over me.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand that it comes from love and good intention.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't mean it. I'm not taking things personally. When I say, yo, you don't mean that, I'm not taking it personally. I want to bring awareness to them that that's just a tendency that they're building.
Yeah.
If someone has always disrespected me, it has become a habit now. It's become a habit. It's a tendency. I'm going to live my life in my own way. If I don't like how I'm being treated, I could go elsewhere, right? I could show no interest. Showing no interest is better than avoiding. But I could show no interest, or I don't like to blame the circumstance, the job, the other person. I really like to focus on what I could be doing, how I could be thinking. And I really believe that everybody has the ability to create their own reality. No matter where they're at in life,
I'm a firm believer
they
in that.
really can do it. It's a special place we live in, man. It's very special that we've been given this gift, but most people just aren't aware that they have it.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to look at other people that everybody's always like trying to just envision things. But when you look at another young kid and he's doing or she's doing incredible things, and you're just like, how? Like, how are they doing this? What do they know that I don't know?
Mm-hmm.
And when you start becoming that person, it's just like,
It's different.
it just feels so good, bro.
Shit. I wanna, cause I'm gonna preface this question with a bit of a story.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts to my freshman year philosophy class, Philosophy of the Human Person. We read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Have you read that book?
Wow, no, I've heard it. I've heard about it.
You need to read that. You might not need to, but I recommend it. You know what I'm saying? Because Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor, he was trapped in the Holocaust in the concentration camps. His entire family died. He's the only one who survived.
Yeah.
And I think this speaks to something we talked about earlier in the conversation, but one of the things that got him through the concentration camp, because the physical toll is immense. Your body is pushed to the state of complete deprivation and depletion. You know what I'm saying? And in order to survive the physical harm, you need to have the mental fortitude. And the mental fortitude, it doesn't come with just like burying your emotions, as many in our community might consider it. But it actually comes with creating an external focus of sorts and putting your mind towards a goal and an aim. And the thing that got Viktor Frankl through, two things that got him through the concentration camps was he wanted to see his wife again. So he would spend days just imagining her and imagining being with her and imagining what he was going to do, when he got out. And it was pure faith. There was no knowledge because his wife was dead. And part of him already knew that she was dead, but he had to convince himself and to believe and have hope in the possibility that she was still alive in order to push himself through that moment. The other thing that got him through that was his work. He wanted to publish a paper on his experiences in the concentration camp. He made it his mission. Even after he lost it, the first draft, he started writing again because he was like, yo, I need to write about this and the world needs to read it. You know what I'm saying? And the motivation to see his wife and finish that document, it literally got him through the worst of human experiences we could possibly imagine. You know what I'm saying? You know, I do have a question for you, but I don't know if you have any initial reactions to that.
I've heard of the story. I've never seen it in detail or understood it as the way you explained it, but just listening to you, bro, was just trying to experience what he experienced, and it's just what a crazy human experience that is.
That's a wild, wild human experience. There are some humans experiencing that right now, but you know.
And the power of using your own imagination in a time where all you could see with your vision, all the sensation and the stimulation that is just misery and death and violence and blood.
Yeah.
And swearing and being told what to do, all things that we don't want to experience.
You're reduced to a number.
And it's crazy how he could take all that inner intention and put it elsewhere and focus on what he wanted to experience.
My question to you, my brother, is what is your focus for 2024? And what's going to get you through 2024?
Not just get me through, man. Not just get me through. It's going to be an amazing year. What a start. What a start. An incredible, you know, tomorrow's going to be the mark of 3 weeks of January. And Monday, I start working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Just continuous improvement. Focusing on my attention on my communicational skills, really sharpening that axe so that I could, you know, relay these messages on and on. That way people could understand it, and I could break it down to where even young kids could understand the things that have immensely marked my life and have done tremendous things for me. I want to continuously improve and just, like I said, just always looking back and saying, after a month has passed, I'm better than who I was a month ago. And not judging myself when I slip up, because I will slip up, but I don't want to experience some type of guilt. I'm going to do some shit. I'm going to do some wild shit, some from time to time. But
you got to.
The problem lays in feeling guilty afterwards. I'll do some fucked up shit, but I'm not going to feel guilty about it. No one's going to make me feel guilty about it, especially my worst enemy at the times, and it's me. I don't want to experience that anymore. But the majority of my days, man, I lived very well. Very grateful. It's one of my principles, gratitude. You mentioned it several times.
I think you mentioned repeatedly throughout the convo, you know, inspiring young people. And what part of your life are you doing that?
Well, I'm noticing that people are saying that to me. I've heard it said multiple times today. Yo, Gene, you inspire me. Like other people saying that to me, and I really, all I could say is a genuine thank you. Like, yo, thank you, bro. But I like to see it. Like I like to see it. I want to see the change or am I inspiring you? Am I really?
Yeah.
Because if I'll see it. Are you moving differently? Are you deciding on doing things? Is there something that you're pursuing, that you're realizing? Or are you just disregarding your dreams, disregarding everything that you want?
Mhm.
You haven't really taken anything introspectively and ask yourself any questions yet, because then I don't know what it is that I inspire you of.
Mhm.
But like I said, I'm not trying to inspire anybody. If that's a byproduct, so be it.
Mhm.
That means that I'm creating my own heaven. I'm
Mhm.
creating my own heaven. It'd be beautiful, bro, if like all my friends and all my family were just more positive, just living life the way, not identical to how I live it, but everybody feeling comfortable and confident within themselves. I want to be here with you, and you have different techniques to handle your anxiety, but you're so confident. You're confident in your instincts. People have closed ears and an open mouth because they're not confident within themselves.
Mhm.
Understand? The person who has open ears and nothing in their mouth while another person's talking and they're actively listening, it's because they feel confident in their instincts.
Mhm.
I trust myself, bro. I trust myself. And that's it, man. That's it. There's nothing materially that I want. Will I make more money this year? Yes. But that doesn't make me feel any better or any worse.
Mhm.
Um,
It doesn't define you. It's not gonna define your happiness.
I'm gonna invest more, and when people like put this like lens or this lid over me of like this is a financial dude because this is what he does or whatever, and they label me as that. But when I say invest, I'm not just talking about financially or just money wise. I'm talking about I'm gonna
Time.
invest energy, time into myself, attention. I'll invest into others. There's plenty of times that I'm going to do seminars. I'm going to be willing to go out there and help other people, help out the community, doing it in a way where I'm just bringing awareness to lessons that I've learned that have impacted my life and made my life a lot better, a better existence than it was in pockets of my life.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to try to change anybody, not going to force them to come or force them to buy anything. I don't care about that because I know it does not work.
Mhm.
It does not work. I will be providing value. Sometimes it will come with a price. If you try to challenge the price, we'll talk about it. But other times I'll do it absolutely for free. Free. And people could take what they want from it and choose to implement it in their own life. And if they do and they find out that it works for them, good. You don't have to give credit to me because it wasn't me. It was the lessons. And that was the whole point of this podcast. What lessons that we learned in 2023
Mhm.
that have worked for us, man. And
100%.
you guys just need more knowledge. With that knowledge, you'll start to naturally feel confident because you're like, yo, I know things now. I know things. Once you have some skills under your belt, you're going to be like, yo, I could handle things. This problem isn't that big. You're not going to put that much importance in it. I've gave speeches, several speeches in 2023. Sometimes I killed them. Sometimes other people are like, wow, you did great. But then I felt I didn't do too good.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what I cared about was how nervous was I, how anxious I was. At the time, I didn't have the right information, so I'm not going to judge my previous self. I didn't have the information. So I'm not going to judge myself for feeling. I literally got pale. I got so. And this time on Tuesday, when I went to take that business exam to become an enrolled agent, I experienced no anxiety, very calm, no nervousness. But I will admit, during the exam, the first 20 questions, I was not confident in any of them. What I studied for was not on the exam. They hit me with concepts I've never seen before.
Love when that happens.
Thank God there was 100 questions on that exam. I became my worst enemy in that moment in the first
20 questions.
hour of the exam. This is a 4-hour exam.
Oy.
And I recognized and I recovered from that moment. It's like you're in a fight, in a 12-round fight, and you're losing the first 4 rounds. But I recognize that I know that in this moment, I either could be my worst enemy or I could be my best friend. And I chose from that 4th round to be my best friend. And I said, yo, the next punch, the next slip, the next defense that I need to do, that next question, I'm going to get it right. And somehow, some way, because I recovered from that negative thinking and I reverted to that feeling of confidence, I ended up passing the exam. It came with a bunch of recognition. It came with money. It came with other things. But at the end of the day, what I'm telling people, ask yourself, who is your best friend? In that case, if you're looking externally, then there's some improvement. For me, when I ask myself that question now, who's my best friend? It's me now.
Yeah.
And for years, it hasn't been. But that is the last lesson that I'll drop for this podcast.